Get the tab and watch ad-free at patreon.com/pedalsteel.
Hey, welcome back, gang. Today we're continuing our series on speed progressions. This is 202 basic exits. Last time we did intros. If you've been following along, we're going to do the same basic idea. We're going to do walk-ups, walk-downs, and licks that we're going to add at the very ending to get out of our speed progression. And while we're going to learn specific ones, the hope is that with a simple tweak, you can use these exits for any progression you want. So let's dive in. Let's take a look at the first one. These actually first three, we're all going to run from speed progression 4, which is 5 and 4 using the F lever. This first one is just a simple, we're going to pick 5, rock off, and down to 6 with B. So that keeps us into a pedals down G. Pedals up, pedals down. Nothing too crazy there. The next one, we're going to add a little bit more of a walk down to it. And do that same rock off, but this time we're going to go back up to 5 open, back to 6, release, and then go 7 and 8. And by walking down like that, we now hit a D note. So we can use that walk down to take us into the 5 chord D. There's a little interesting way that even though we ran that progression from G to G, we walk down into a D. All right, and then number 3, we're going to rock it up. Rock it back up and hit that top octave note for G. And then we're going to pick a big D chord and pedal back into the G. Cool. Nothing too crazy there. So now we're going to do all 3 of those, but this time we're going to run that same 5 and 4 progression, but we're going to do the pedals down to pedals up version, right? You're going to pick and rock off and down to 6 with B. Right, we did the exact same exit, but you'll notice this time we went from a G to a C, so a 1 to a 4. So let's see what happens when we apply number 2 to that. And now we walked out into a G. So we went from G to a G by hitting that second pattern. All right, and then the third one. All right, again, we went from a G to a G. All right, so the same exits, doing different things depending on how we run the progression. And so we can run this with any 5 and 4 progression, right? We could use our E flat lever one. So from G, right, there's our G flat lever position. Right, we could end it right here, or we could keep it moving. Use that ending to get into a C, or keep going. And get into a D. Or we could just use the progression from the pedals up position. Right, use the E flat lever position. Okay, so again, we can use those endings for any 5 and 4 progression because we're just sliding up on that 5th string and grabbing the 4th string. Okay, number 4, we are running speed progression 3, which was 5 and 6 B only. There's that progression. This time we're going to just do some pedal rocking. And it just keeps us on that G. Nothing too crazy there. Number 5, we're running speed progression 2, which was 5 and 6 with A and B. So now, even though we're starting from the 3rd fret again, it's actually pedals down now, because we're going pedals down. Right. Getting the chromatic position. This time we're just doing a little extra pedal rocking. And that takes us into a pedals down, so we would now be in F. So a 1 to a 4. Let's check out what that would look like with speed progression 3, the B only. Right, so we could run it from there. Right. If we did it the same as number 4, where we ended it at the 8th fret, we could do the exact same thing, but now it's a G to an F. Or we could run it as a C, right? Because we talked about in those lessons how the pattern from pedals up to pedals down starts the same as the pedals down to pedals up. That could still be a C progression. Okay. Let's check out number 6, which brings us to the pedals down to pedals up version of progression 3. All right, so there's the progression. And now this time we're doing a lick ending. We're doing our pedal steel lick number 2. That's kind of tongue-in-cheek. We're doing that same kind of up and back movement to get us into the lick. 5 go on A, 1, 5, 4, 5, rock off, and back down to 6 with B, which would be a pedals down C lick. So that would be a G to a C. We could also run it from our pedals up. And now it's a G to G. All right, so there's a good example of running a lick at the end. Let's take a look at number 7. This one is our progression number 1, 3 and 5 with A and B. So we're pedals down at the 3rd fret, makes it a C. Hitting the chromatic. This time we're doing a little lick. All right, we're pedaling in. 3, 5, 4, 5, rock off, down to 6 with B, which makes us pedals down, so we're in an F, right? And this time we're picking 3, 4, and 5 with the B down and rocking on A. But of course, we could use that ending really with any position on this progression. One to one. All right, so hopefully you're getting the idea now that we can use these endings with really any progression we want, just making a few little tweaks. Let's take a look at number 8. This time we're running the pedals up version of progression 1. Nice. But we're going to run it from the pedals down G position at the 10th fret. And instead of just keeping it simple and pedaling out, we're going to do a little walk down. 5, rock off, down to 6 with B, back to 5, back to 6, 7, 8. an example of a walk down from progression 1. Your homework for next time is to start combining intros we learned last time with the progression and the exits we learned today, and then coming up with your own exits. But for example, let's run one of the basic intros we learned last time, the walk up from the 8th string, progression 3, and let's run exit number 5. Right? And it's that simple to start creating your own solos from these ideas. And again, we'll start combining stuff with connections next time. Actually, we're going to talk about timing next time. That'll also be a pretty short lesson, but kind of necessary before we start talking about the connections, and then you'll be a speed picking master. All right, I'll see you next time.